How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to continue on with our 1978 Gottlieb Sinbad. This is a System 1. Normally I start with the boards, getting all of our boards ready to plug in and see what we have as far as board-wise goes. Pulling them out, servicing them, checking everything. But I think today we're going to start with trying to unjumble all this crap and get it off of the playfield and see if we have anything missing, wires missing or anything like that that we need to address. Get all this crap off of our power distribution center here. So we, you know, when we plug it in, we're not going to have any problems. And we're going to put on looky there, a coin door. We're going to get our coin door put in and get it mounted and get all of it all wired up. Now the coin door I have that I picked up, this is off of a System 80, which the wiring on the System 80 is a little different. You can see on the 80s there was a plug to plug in everything for your coin door, but the coin door is the same. So all we have to do is remove the whole wiring and lockout coil and everything off of this and mount everything back on it from our System 1 door. Since they were graciously enough to leave everything here, we're in pretty good shape. Let's see, that has leaf switches for coin. Let's see, does the 80 have leaf or does it have micros? Where are you at? Coil. Yep, leaves. Okay, good. So we're okay there too. Cool. We're in pretty good shape then. We can get this all wired up. I know it fits because it's the same coin door as the System 1s. This trim around it, God, they even left the hinge. God, they just wanted the door. That's odd. Usually hinges are gone too. Let's see what this trim. This coin door is in really good shape. Just that we will have to eliminate our Susan B. Anthony, because the System 1's only uses two coin slots, and the 80s were the 3, so they could have the Susan B's. This one, let's see, we got a kind of a rough area there. This one actually looks a little better condition, so all we'll have to do is unscrew it off the hinge and put our door on there and get her wired up. Like I said, everything's here. I may not even have to take the lockout coil off of that one. I could just unsolder it and solder the wires onto the lockouts. But everything else we have to use our test switch. I mean, it's no big deal with the test switch either, since there's probably no place to mount that style of test switch. We can unsolder and wire it right up to that little small switch. So it'll be kind of a hybrid. Be an 80 and a System 1. I mean, I guess I could drill some holes and put a couple screws in. Yeah, we'll see. You can see for our coin door on this one, it's one single plug that has your tilt and the one flipper switch on it, where that one's just 2 plugs. So that's the difference. That's why we have to unwire it off of the off of that coin door and use our wiring that's here, which I'm glad that was here. I'm glad somebody didn't just cut it. When they started parting this out, they I think they kind of thought maybe they might eventually put it back together, because they didn't cut anything. They just unplugged stuff, and when they needed the coin door off of it, they took all the wiring off the coin door. So it's kind of another clue as to that they had thoughts of bringing this one back to life again. I'm still willing to bet that all this crap that's on here blew the spider on the MPU, and that's why they started parting it out. If it didn't, I'll be amazed if that MPU in this works. But okay, so let's get started. We need to get all the wiring off of this one that we're not going to need, so we can get it hung and get started on getting a coin door put on it. And then when we get our coin door all wired up and put on here, or put on and wired, let's do it that way instead of trying to wire it and then put it on. Then what we're going to do is, while the gun is hot, we're going to start pulling this crap off of here and getting it out of here, so we can get this back to factory. I just don't trust any of that stuff. I don't know. I think they were trying to do some sort of light show. That's the only thing I can think of. You know, some different lights or something, because everything's wired to the lights. And on this little breadboard, I think that one's a timer. One of those chips is a timer. So, you know, so it's going to flash this. I have no idea. And see, there's a little pot on this. There's a little timer. A little pot there, so you can probably adjust the speed of the flashes. I don't know, and don't care. It's gotta go. Old Wong don't go for that type of crap. So we're gonna get that all taken off of there. And then we'll get the playfield out of it and flip it over, and then we can start working through this wiring on here and see what we have to do to get that right. So right now, let's get started and let's get the coin door all squared away and put on. One piece of the puzzle. Got the coin door on. She's all wired up. Got everything all squared away on there. Kind of hit our test button under here. I thought about mounting it on top of this, but then I remembered that our lockdown bar and playfield lockdowns, that's to protect it so somebody can't get down through and knock it, so you can get into it. That's just another safety feature. So the wires were short on the System 1 door. It mounts over here. I think there's, on the System 1 door, I think there's only 2 coin chutes, these two here. Or I might be wrong, but anyway, I know the test button mounts over in here somewhere. On the System 80, the test button mounts out here. So I figured, well, I had one hole down in here, so I put a screw in her, and there's our test button. It's not like you're gonna, you know, you have to use it all the time. And so now all I'll have to do is, it looks like I need to, we'll straighten that up maybe. That should be alright though. But now we have ourselves a coin door. It's a little rough closing. Ouch. But I think we're good. You know, coin door is not opened all the time. This one I'll block out. Opens really good. Okay, I think it just hung up on something. I think I was pulling up on it or something. Okay, now, since we got our coin door in, needs clean. Now we got to start getting rid of this hack. Whatever the hell they were trying to do. Here, what's interesting is our whole solenoid here. I don't see the wires, you know, maybe. We'll see when we get it flipped over. But anyway, I was looking at this, and we have this wire here running down to a board, and that one picking up the power from the reset relay for the drop targets. It comes down and goes to that board there. And on that board is a tip 120. This board here goes over to the knocker, and it has a tip 120 on it as well. So what that's kind of, see, these are more clues that are coming in as we look at this stuff and find out where it's hooked up to and that. I'm willing to bet that this one here goes up to the whole relay. They were having a problem with it not kicking out. And instead of working through the board, the driver board, they built this little breadboard with a tip 120 on it to fire that solenoid. Now you also have to pick up the switch off of that in order for it to fire. And there it is. It's right in there. There's a switch for it, and it's all wired and bugged into that little guy there that runs down, around, and comes into this board too. So I'm willing to bet that they were having a problem with the driver board. But why didn't they fix the driver board, and why go through all the trouble and build a breadboard with a tip on it to fire a solenoid? Why not fix the driver board? Okay, and on this one here, that one runs over to our knocker, and same thing. That wire there runs all the way up to this light, which is same player shoots again. So what that's telling me, another clue, is they had it set on, instead of a game when you win, or game for special, you get an extra ball. And when you get the extra ball, then it knocks. Is there a special on this field? When lit, extra ball. Yeah, see, there is a special, and that's up top there. And it's really hard to see with it like this, but I don't think there's anything hacked into the special. I think they're having it knock on the extra ball. Hence, the tip 120 on a little breadboard. Kind of the same bullshit going on there, excuse me. Same bullcrap going on there is what's on here, only over here we have a few more chips with a timer. And the timer, I'm wondering if we're working on trying to put some lights, because they added a light to the eject hole. But anyway, again, clue. That clue tells me driver board again. That they were having a problem, or this was just an add-on thought that they figured that they could do this just to have it knock when you get an extra ball. Strange, but you know, stranger things have happened. And just like this long wire here runs down, yeah, that comes down into that. So I think they were having a problem with the driver board and couldn't figure it out. But guess what? We will figure it out. But as you can see, there's just little clues as to things that they were having problems with that you can track down and figure out what they were trying to do. At first I thought they were trying to do a light show with a light matrix and all that, but then I got to looking at it a little bit more with it hooked up to this solenoid and extra ball light. So when the extra ball light comes on, it triggers the tip 120 and you get a knock. So back to driver board. Here, where you are? There you are. Driver board over there inside the head unit. Fun stuff. But you know, if you can figure out with these little clues as to what they were trying to do, then you have an idea where you're going to have to concentrate a lot more time and effort instead of instead of just tearing it out, you know, and saying, okay, you know, it doesn't belong there now. We're just going to put it back to the factory and then try and figure it out from there. Look at your clues as to what somebody was trying to do, and if you can figure out what they were trying to do, that's going to lead you to a place where they were having a problem, and that's where you can concentrate your time and effort in fixing. Maybe they went through the driver board and everything they did didn't work. So maybe we have a wiring problem. But we know to start on the driver board and check all of our tips on there, all of our transistors on it, to see if we can't figure and pinpoint something that needs to be replaced. So anyway, I'm going to start unsoldering and taking a lot of this wire off of here, just for the fact that I can drag all this crap out of here, and then we can flip the board, the playfield over, and work on that little area there and see what the hell's going on. Okay, got all that crap cleaned off of it. This is everything I pulled out of it. All the wiring. A couple breadboards with some tip 21s on it. I think I already mentioned that those were on there. And then this little guy, I don't know what the hell that thing is. Kind of reminds me of a relay. It might be a micro relay. I don't know. Anyway, this is all the crap I pulled off of the inside of the cabinet and off the bottom of the playfield. Now I gotta wait for wire schematic, because we're missing a couple of wires and a couple of things here that, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on over there. A couple of wires missing, and some wires that just are not making sense to me, so I'm getting a wiring schematic in on it so we can make sure we have everything hooked up. We can still fire up the machine, it's just that our eject hole here will not work. Everything else is okay. As far as wires being missing, like I said, see, we have two striped white and red wires, and that's normally general illumination. Okay, we have one general illumination with the wrong wire on it, but it runs over to, what else? White striped red wire. So I don't know, you know, that's probably fine for the lights anyway, but this one, there's no other general illumination light that's missing. We have these two wires here for our switch, which I'm pretty sure are these two here. We have a green and white and a green, white, and red. I'm pretty sure those are our switches, our switch wires. Now where I'm missing, they have this jumpered over from the solenoid for the reset and the drop targets, which you know, that they do that, jump it over. This is just the power, and then your ground would be here, you know, and this is what trips it. That would be your trip wire. And this is just your carrying your current over to that solenoid, and then it trips it. Alright, well, I can't find the wire that goes to the solenoid. You know, it's not like it's cut off here somewhere and laying. But, you know, these... Now, I'm not even going to go there. Because the red and white striped, those are general illumination light. Those are general illumination wires. Plain and simple. So there, should be here. This one, have no clue where that goes. There's no light bulb, no general illumination light that's missing a wire. So that's why I said I gotta have the wiring schematic so I can figure out everything here. Sticky. Everything else looks good. Nothing else has been hacked upon. You know, but over here on the T relay, we have the red and white striped coming off of our relay here. Okay, well, you know, we do see relays controlling solenoids. Trips, count your score and everything, and then let's go and ejects. That does happen. So it could be that one of these do go to one side and then you jump over to the other. I don't know. That's why I'm not hooking anything up until I have the wiring diagram so I can figure all this out. But see, these two wires here, if these are your switch wires, and if T solenoid is for that, you would have those here. And they're not. So that's where I'm at now. On at least I've got everything all stripped off of it that doesn't belong on it. Everything is good in the cabinet, so when we do plug it in, everything will be alright. We won't have anything shorting out in the cabinet because of that crap that was all hacked into the power grid. Okay, now that we've got that hackery all taken off of the playfield and the inside the cabinet, now we can start working our boards over. But the first thing we need is a power supply. Well, just so happens I have one. Needs rebuilt, but that's what I found without buying a new one. As we have this one here, it mounts a little different. Active amusement. Active amuse. Okay. RO549. Interesting. May something, looks like 85. Oh, so hard to tell. Okay, anyway. We can't mount this one flat like, you know, the bracket's a little different. We can't mount it like this. That's just, no. I thought about mounting it like this. We could move out to those two and mount it up just like that. One problem. It's upside down. So, what we are going to do is just mount this guy right up against the sideboard here. We'll have to carry a ground over to it, because with it being mounted on the back plate, it has the ground, but no biggie. We can pull ground off of here and take it right up to that terminal there if we want, or over to one of those Knerts. So that's what we're going to do, but the first thing we have to do is we need to rebuild this power supply so we know it's good. So when we do plug it in and turn it on, we can test some voltages, and hopefully we have all of our voltages. Like I said, I do have the wire cable that goes from the power supply up to our MPU. When I first got this, I looked inside and seen the power supply was missing and the cable wasn't hanging on it. So I went ahead and ordered a new one as I was rounding up parts for this. So we have that, and we have a brand new cable if we need it. But since we have the old one, the one that came with it, and those terminals don't look bad at all. They're not burnt or filthy. We'll go ahead and we'll use that one. But yeah, let me get this rebuilt, and then we'll put it in, and we'll be ready to put some power to it and see if we have our voltages off of it. Okay, basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Okay, basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recap this power supply. Everything looks really good. Board's dirty. I may clean it up some. But everything, you know, usually I get them, they're burnt down in here. You can see it had gotten a little warm down there. But everything looks good on this board. Bought this untested. In other words, you know, doesn't work. But anyway, so we're going to recap it, and hopefully we can get some life out of it. Everything, you know, we got our 5-volt regulator there. Some fun caps. Look about 2 days older than dirt. Let's see, 78. Yep, 0978. So this was probably still all the original caps on this board when this was put in the machine. Yep, 0978. Nothing on that one. But the board is a 78. It's just it mounts in a cabinet a little different than ours, which is, it's fine. You know, we'll make do. It's a Gottlieb power supply for System 1, so it'll work. And I got the kit here, cap kit. A lot of times for these, it's just a lot easier to go ahead and order the cap kit for it instead of trying to stock and keep all this stuff in here. It's bad enough I have enough caps over there. So when I'm ordering stuff for, you know, different machines, if like I knew this one was coming up, so I just, you know, put on a cap kit and on my order, and then when we're ready to work on it, we have it, because I know even if it came with one, it was going to get a new cap kit in anyway, you know. And I get these from Marco. I get a lot of stuff from Marco. They have a really good variety. No affiliation. So let's get busy. My desolderer's heated up, so I'm going to go ahead and tear this apart and recap it, and then we'll be ready to put it in and test it out. These power supplies on these System 1s, I've always had kind of had some problems with them. For starters, you have to, you know, totally tear them down to get them off the heat sink, because that's the heat sink for the I just left it on there for the 5-volt regulator and those two transistors up on the sides. When you first take a look at this, you'll think, oh, the traces are broke here, but they had to put a little piece of insulation under one leg of each one of those transistors, because the center transistor catches the trace right where it goes down, and then it goes under this other leg, and it could, you know, get pinched down and short. But the other thing is these legs on these transistors are so stinking small that every one of these I have taken apart. Let me let that focus. You see those legs? Those three. Where's my finger? There's my finger. Those three legs there, and the two in the back. Now let that focus up again. Come on. There we go. Watch those. The two on this side are loose from the board. Every one of these I have done, every one of them on this one side are loose. This side's usually not too bad because they're laying down and soldered long ways onto the board. These ones protrude through the board. And those ones, every time I've pulled one of these apart, this one has been loose. And the other thing is getting these caps unsoldered. You have such a big plane here that you have to heat up to get those caps off of there. They're fun. But we'll get this all done up. You can see I gave it a bath. Now we can see that this one diode up top here, that one always does gets hot. And there's usually one of them down in here that gets a little warm too on these System 1s. But potentiometers and everything look good on this one, so we're not going to mess with those. They do get kind of funky at times, just because of the age. I haven't found a date code on this board, so I don't know for sure what. We did see it up here, but you know, May 2019 1985 it looks like. But 85, I don't know if they use this one in the 80, the system 80 or not. If they use this power supply in the system 80. I haven't got to a system 80 yet, but I'm sure we will at some point. Okay, let me go ahead and get this done, so we'll have it ready so we can pop it in and see if we get some voltage out of this thing. Alright, we got our power supply all ready to put in, so we can start hooking up some stuff and hook up the power supply anyway and check our voltages and see how they are. Last night when I went in, I was doing some research on Sinbad, and what I had found is Sinbad does not have an eject hole here. It has a stand-up target, just like that one up there. So the mystery is solved. I have to put in a stand-up to make it right. All those boards, these breadboards, were to actuate and work the eject hole, because they had it tied into one of the, I think it was the other drop target. It was tied into the other drop target, so when you drop in here and hit the switch, it would score just like the drop target would. And I don't know, after I found that out, I just thought about it a little bit on those breadboards, and okay, now I know why the chips and the timer and all that on this is to actuate and work the eject hole. And that'll be the relay that kicks it. And once it kicks, it shuts it off, and you know how. Anyway, yeah, it's wrong. So we're going to put it back to factory. We're going to put I ordered the stand-up for it, and we'll put the stand-up back in there. I did kind of like the idea of it having the eject hole, but it's not right. And when you start modding like that, I don't know how these System 1, it may have blown the MPU. We still don't know until we get everything all hooked up. You know, and that may be why it was parked. It was because somebody was screwing around with this shit, excuse the language, and it blew the MPU out of it. So we're gonna find out. Got it all capped, cleaned up, put some more thermal paste under our little transistors here. There should be voltage regulators, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've messed with a System 1, but I'm pretty sure those are two are regulators. And we have our potentiometers look good. We won't know for sure until we put it in and see if we try and adjust our voltage. To do 60 volt adjustment, and the 5 volt adjustment is that's the 5 volt and that's the 60. 60 volt is what runs our displays. And then we have our 42 volt DC, that's what runs our solenoids. The 4 volt should be MPU, and 8 volt should be lights. And then we have a minus 12 and a plus 5 volt DC on this side too. Nope, the 5 volt is what runs our MPU. The 4 volts, I'm not sure what the 4 volts runs. I'd have to look that up again. And the minus 12 is used, God, drawing a blank here. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, people. Checked all of our diodes. All of our diodes on the board are good. Checked the little transistors here. Those are good. The only one I can't check is this, that IC1. This little multi-leg dude here. I've changed those out before. Those are really fun to change. but you know, they're not terrible. But overall, this board is in good shape. I resoldered our one regulator, and we're ready to put this in and hook some power to it. Okay, folks, I finally did it. Put a cap in backwards. See, that one's getting all bulged on the top. I pulled that one and then I got called away. And when I come back, I wasn't sure. You know, normally you don't have any problems. Oop, wrong one. The C8 there. And if you look, see there's a plus down there. Oop, damn it. Get my finger out of there. There's a plus there. So which one is it? Well, I used this one right there, right next to the cap line, the C8 line, and it's that one there next to our pot. I put it in and turned it on. I just wanted to see before I got going on this, to make sure everything was okay, that I didn't have anything going on. And I seen a little bit of smoke coming out of here, so I quickly turned it off. So I caught it before she blew. I mean, these snap pretty good when they blow their top. That one was getting close. She was all bulged on the top. So now I got to replace it again, and we'll try this again. I wish I would have turned the camera on to show you what was going on when I first turned it on, but I wanted to just make sure I didn't have anything funny really going on bad. And I'm not afraid to admit that, you know, hey, I screwed up. So I'll get that changed back out, and we'll get it put back in and see what happens this time. Okay, folks, I got you set up a little so I can get in here and test this power supply. I'm on 200 volts. I have an alligator clip on our common coming out. Got our bottom plug plugged in. Our voltages coming in are good. We have our 12s and our 14s and our 75 volt coming in from the wall. So we're all good here. Like I said, these create the grounds through the board, through the wiring. So this is the one that you have to clip onto to test your 5 volt and your minus 12 and your 4 volt and 8 volt over on this pin here, on this connector here. The common here is the one for the 60 volts and the 42 volts. So we'll plug it in on our alligator clip. It's okay if you clip it and it touches the one next to it, because that's also a ground. You just have to be very careful when you're... Okay. Turned on. And you have to be really careful when you're touching these pins that you don't touch the one next to it. And see, we're at 4.5, which is a little low. I like them to be right around 5, maybe a little higher, like a 5.1. Oop, wrong way. Yeah, looks like we may have a bad potentiometer. Mm-hmm. See, we do have our 8. But that's it. No 4. We have our 8 volt coming through, but nothing else. And let me make sure I got a good ground. Yeah, our 8's good. But that's it. That's all we have right now. We had our 4.5, and then all of a sudden it left. Not good. And we don't have our minus 12. Let me take my alligator clip off of there. Let's see if we even have any power for our displays and our solenoids. Let's see if I can stay out of the way here. There we go. Let's see, we have 57, which is a little low. We can adjust that hopefully. And oh shit, don't do that. And we have 39.9. So we have 57.7. Let's see if we can move that up a little bit. 58.7. $59.9. I'm happy with the 59.9. Let's test our 5 one more time here. Nope, no 5 volt. Nope. We had it for an instant and then it left. Let me see what I got to do to get into it, and I still got to figure out why we don't have our minus 12. We're missing our 5 volt, our minus 12, and our 4 volt over on this side. So let me get to working on this some more and see what we can come up with. Alright, now you seen we had our 5 volts, which was 4.5. I got that adjusted up, but we were missing our minus 12 volts, which is crucial for our MPU to run. Alright, so now let's go to our power supply. This is theory of operations for our system 1 power supply. Let's see here. Okay, on a solid state regulator L1C1 to provide minus 12 VDC volts, DC volts. The plus 4 and plus 8 outputs are also generated in this section. Okay, well we're generating our 4 and our 8, but no minus 12. The IC or LIC1 is this one right here on our power supply board parts. Gives us everything that's on here. Here's our, this is our minus 12 volt regulator. Okay, the 14 volt VAC input is rectified by CR3 and CR4 applied to terminal 3. Okay, in other words, here is 1, 2, we have 3. These 2 terminals right here are our 14 coming in. Here's our diodes that's rectifying and changing it over. CR3 and CR4. We tested it on the I tested it while it was in the machine and running, and I had my 14 on either side here, and it jumped it down to 6. These two are tied together. These are the same pin and run all the way up. Okay, apply to terminal 3 of the L. Okay, the output of LIC1 at terminal 2 is minus 12 volt. Terminal 2 is over here, which gives us our minus 12 that takes it over to our header, and that's where we plug in. It goes up to the MPU. Okay, overprotection is provided by CR201 and SR201, and that's this cap. There's a ceramic cap, and here's your SCR201. This is your protection, your over voltage protection, or these two is what protects it from going over minus 12. Okay, so there's our theory. Our theory is that our power comes in here, changes it to DC, and it runs all the way up to our LIC1, which changes it over to minus 12, that shoots it over to our pin and gives us our minus 12. Okay, now we'll come over here to the board. Oop. Here's our power supply. Flip that over. Here's our CRs here. CR2, CR3. Here's our 2 terminals with our 14 coming in. Comes through, jumps through here, regulates and changes it over. Here's the 2 of them tying together, coming in here, tying in, running all the way up. This is part of this pin right here is part of the 4 and the 8 volts. It goes all the way up to the center pin, and then it jumps over. It goes through here, changes it to 12, minus 12, comes over. Yep, here we go, and here's our minus 12 pin. So, okay, I tested it while it was in there. Like I said, I had the 14 and then I had the 6, which 6 and 6 is 12. Running it up, and this will change it over to minus 12. Okay, I'm set on diode, and I want to show you we have come on. Anyway, you can see we have, there we go, we have connection to here, but oh, shut up, Becker. Anyway, I'm not going to try and open that up. We don't have connection. We have connection in here, but we don't have it to this pin here. Oop, let me get you back up here. Let me repeat myself here. We have connection here. This is on the other side of the diodes. It runs up. And we don't have connection here. We have connection back there. Now if you look real close to this circuit board, the trace is broke. Right there. So we're not even getting any power up here. When I had this in, like I said, I had my 14, and my 6 and 6, back you off, 6 and 6, which is 12, but I had no power up here to our LIC1. If that was bad, at least we would show power coming into it. So we had no power coming into it, so we still don't know if this is bad or not, but we do know we don't have our power up to it. So I'm going to repair this trace here and see what we get. Hope that made sense. Kind of made sense to me anyway. Now you can really see it. I touched it with my soldering iron and it just, everything just kind of fell apart and went away. All that was left was some gunk under what was left of the trace. It's really weird how this could get damaged, because I never have had -12 on this. The whole time we've been pissing with this. Never got the -12. And I didn't notice it because, you know, the trace, well, at least what looked like a trace was there. Ha! Fooled you. So I've been racking my brain and scratching my head here for a while, but then I finally decided, you know, maybe I ought to go do some reading and kind of see what the hell's going on, and that's how I found it, was reading. Reading is fundamental. So now we'll get this fixed up, and hopefully we get our -12. Everything else should be good, maybe. But it's still kind of strange how that got damaged, because of the metal plate. The heat sink goes over this, unless something had dropped down inside this at some point, but there wasn't any. I don't know. Half the time I stopped trying to figure out this crap. Wow, why that happens, and there's no burnt marks or nothing like that. Who the hell knows? It may have been a feedback came down and popped it right there because it was the weakest point. Okay, I'm going to fix it now. Okay, just a quick shot of it fixed. And now we have continuity from here up to our center pin on our IC. And that's why you save the ends of your capacitor, all your legs that you cut off. You save those, because that's what they work great for. Alright, now we'll get this put back together and get it put in and see if we have our -12. I repaired that trace and I put it in. Now here, I'll show you. Machine's on. Okay, let's turn on. Okay, we're set on DC, 200 volts. You can see I cheat and got a little clip on it. You've seen that the last time. Okay, this is we have our -12. Finally. And we have our 5 volts. We have our 8. Get over on this side. 8.4, and excuse me for a second. Okay, and 3.6. The 3.6 is what runs our little baby display for our. Well, I don't know if it runs the whole display, but it runs a portion of it, is from what I can read and gather. Okay, now let's very carefully remove my ground there, because get off there. Okay, and then our common is right here, and 60. We have 61.3 solenoid, 43.5. Hope you could see that. Finally, we got this power supply squared away. After I fixed the trace, I put it back in, and lo and behold, we had our -12, which makes sense since there was no power getting to it. Then I lost my 5 volt. I've been messing with this for all day today, since about probably since about 9 o'clock this morning, and it is 6:30 right now, and I finally got it. Lost the 5 volts. Okay, figured out, read the theory, in my repair manual and all that, and figured out that our CR1 and CR2, these two big diodes down here, they're 3 amp diodes. One of them puked out. It still kind of tested good, but right after you powered it on, if you powered it off and tried testing it, it was way up like 1.5, and then it would slowly come down. Where the other one, you touch the other one, and it was right at 0.54 every time. The other one, I don't know, it just seemed awful strange. So I changed it and put her back in, and this is what we've got right now. We got our 5 volts, minus 12, got our 60 volts, our 42 volts, 4 volt, and 8 volt. Our power supply is now finally ready. I mean, you know, you watch videos of people repairing these, but they don't show you the 16 times that they've had that board in and out of the machine trying to locate everything. You know, I guess if I would have just bought the whole rebuild kit for this, which would what the hell was it, about $34. You get all the caps, you get all the diodes, you get a new voltage or the power regulator, you get the new SCRs, and you know, you get everything. You can just sit down and redo the whole thing. But what's the fun in that? You know, I have most of the parts here to rebuild it. I just don't have the minus 12 regulator or the 5 volt regulator at the bottom, or the caps. I just order in a cap kit for that. But anyway, they don't show you the 16 times that they've had it in and out, trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with stuff. But like I said, it's okay. You learn. The more you work on it and figure out problems with it, the more you learn. As to next time, if something happens to one that comes in, you can pinpoint it pretty quick and get it narrowed down. So that's going to be it for this episode. I think we've done enough in this episode. So I hope you enjoyed the episode and the video and me talking all the time. But how am I going to show you and tell you anything if I don't talk? So I hope to see you on the next episode. Until next time, when we start working on the MPU. See ya.